Amidst the swirling desert sands and under the vast, unending sky, imagine a bustling caravan slowly making its way across the ancient Silk Road. Merchants from distant lands barter with each other by the light of a flickering campfire, their diverse tongues weaving a tapestry of ambition and intrigue. This isn't just any route there on one of history's most legendary and enigmatic paths, the Silk Road. Stretching over 4,000 miles, it was more than a conduit for the exchange of silk and spices. It was a gateway to the mingling of cultures, ideas, and even conspiracies that span the globe. But beneath this aura of bustling markets and vibrant exchanges lies a shadowy underbelly, a world rife with secrets, perilous journeys, and unimaginable hardships. Today, we peel back the layers to reveal 30 dark truths hidden within its storied past. From treacherous terrains to the spread of devastating plagues, the Silk Road was as much a harbinger of doom as it was of prosperity. So, are you ready to embark on a journey through time, uncovering the mysteries and machinations that echo along its forgotten paths? Stick with us as we uncover the chilling truths that unfold along this ancient ribbon of earth. Now turning to the origin of the Silk Road, this legendary network of trade routes was born out of the insatiable desire for silk and other exotic goods. It all began over 2,000 years ago when the Han Dynasty of China realized the immense value and appeal of their silk not only within their borders but across distant lands. Silk, with its shimmering allure and delicate texture, became a symbol of luxury and wealth, sought after by the powerful and the elite. This demand ignited an unprecedented effort to connect the East and the West, despite the daunting challenges posed by vast, uncharted territories. For ancient civilizations, the Silk Road was more than just a path for commerce. It was a strategic link that promised economic prosperity and influence. The route's establishment was driven by both economic ambition and political maneuvering. Trade with far-flung regions offered the chance to not only accrue wealth but also secure diplomatic relationships and military alliances. Empires and city-states were lured by tales of riches and the promise of power, prompting them to brave treacherous landscapes and forge new connections. Merchants and leaders alike were united by a common goal: to partake in this grand exchange of goods, ideas, and culture, even if it meant risking their lives over perilous distances. As the next challenge unfolds, the true nature of the Silk Road's perils begins to emerge, casting a shadow over its storied beginnings. As the next challenge unfolds, we turn our attention to the formidable terrains and climates that traders encountered on the Silk Road. This legendary path was not just a conduit for goods but a test of endurance and courage, winding through some of the Earth's most treacherous landscapes. Imagine standing before the vastness of the Taklamakan Desert, ominously known as the Sea of Death. This desert, with its endless dunes and scorching temperatures, was infamous for swallowing entire caravans, leaving them to succumb to the relentless elements. Yet, it was not the only obstacle to overcome. Towering mountain ranges like the Tian Shan and the Pamirs posed their own formidable challenges. These mountains, often blanketed in snow and shrouded in mist, were both beautiful and deadly, with narrow paths that could betray the unwary to their doom. Elsewhere, the sprawling steppes presented a different kind of danger, with their harsh winds and unpredictable weather patterns. Such environments were not just barriers to be crossed but adversaries that tested every traveler's resolve. The climate along these routes was as unforgiving as the terrain, swinging from the bone-chilling cold of mountain passes to the blistering heat of desert days. For those who dared to tread these paths, it was a journey fraught with peril, where survival hinged on wisdom, preparation, and sheer luck. As we continue, the shadow of banditry that loomed over traders reveals another dark truth of the Silk Road's legacy. Now turning to the ever-present shadow of bandit threats along the Silk Road, one can only imagine the constant fear that gripped traders as they journeyed through these remote and often lawless territories. Bandits were notorious for their merciless raids, striking swiftly to seize precious cargo and leave devastation in their wake. These marauders thrived in the chaos, exploiting the vulnerability of isolated caravans laden with goods yet defenseless against well-coordinated attacks. The fear of ambush was so ingrained in the psyche of travelers that it shaped not only their routes but also their strategies for survival. In response to these threats, the concept of caravanserais emerged as a vital innovation. These fortified inns provided a sanctuary where weary travelers and their valuable wares could find safety from the ever-lurking menace. Situated at strategic intervals along the trade routes, they offered a respite from the dangers of the road, allowing merchants to regroup and prepare for the journey ahead. Additionally, the necessity of safe passage gave rise to the employment of armed escorts, seasoned warriors who for a fee would safeguard traders from the perils of the wild. This symbiotic relationship between merchant and mercenary underscored the harsh realities of commerce in an era where the promise of profit was often tempered by the threat of peril. As we forge onward, we delve into the intricate web of political intrigue and espionage that further complicates the narrative of the Silk Road. As the next challenge unfolds, we find that amidst the bustling trade and exchange of goods, the Silk Road was also a stage for an intricate dance of political intrigue and espionage. Empires along this vast route saw an opportunity not only to expand their economic influence, but also to wield power through the subtle arts of diplomacy and covert operations. The flow of traders, diplomats, and envoys brought with them more than just silk and spices. They carried intelligence, secrets that moved quietly alongside their wares. Information was as valuable as gold, and those who mastered the art of gathering it could sway the tides of power. The political landscapes of the kingdoms and empires that bordered the Silk Road were as varied as the goods they traded, creating a complex network of alliances and rivalries that fueled the need for constant surveillance. It wasn't uncommon for traders to double as informants, their journeys meticulously monitored for any valuable insights they could provide. Some were willingly recruited into this web, while others were unwitting participants, ensnared by the machinations of ambitious rulers. Diplomats, too, were key players in this game, using their missions as cover for more clandestine agendas, their negotiations often serving as precursors for more covert maneuvers. This shadowy undercurrent of espionage was not merely a side effect of trade but a fundamental element of the Silk Road's operation, shaping the course of history in ways that were both subtle and profound. As we continue, let us unravel the impact of the Mongol Empire in this grand narrative. Moving forward, we delve into the Mongol Empire's pivotal role in shaping the Silk Road during the 13th and 14th centuries. At the height of their power, the Mongols controlled a vast stretch of this legendary trade route. Their dominion ensured a level of safety and stability previously unseen, as the Pax Mongolica provided a rare period where trade could flourish relatively unhindered by banditry and strife. Under Mongol rule, traders could traverse the Silk Road with a newfound sense of security, thanks to the formidable military presence that deterred potential threats. This security led to an unprecedented boom in commerce, allowing for an exchange of goods, ideas, and culture on a scale that was truly transformative. Yet, this era of prosperity was not without its stark shadows. The Mongol administration, while facilitating trade, was also notorious for its harsh governance and exploitation. The demands placed on conquered peoples were immense, as taxes and tributes were exacted with little mercy. This extraction of wealth fueled the Mongol war machine, perpetuating cycles of conquest and subjugation that left many regions in economic hardship. One could argue that while the Silk Road under the Mongols became a superhighway of cultural and economic exchange, it also bore witness to unspeakable acts of brutality. The enforced peace came at the cost of freedom for many, as the Mongols maintained control through fear and domination. It is here, amidst the bustling bazaars and caravans, that we find the duality of the Mongol rule, a conduit for prosperity and a conduit for oppression. This dual legacy continues to shape our understanding of the Mongol Empire's impact on the Silk Road, as it stands as a testament to both the heights of human achievement and the depths of human cruelty. Moving forward, let's explore how cultural exchanges and misunderstandings interwoven through the tapestry of this trade route changed the world. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we navigate the fascinating and complex web of cultural exchanges and misunderstandings that define the Silk Road. As traders, explorers, and emissaries journeyed along these ancient pathways, they carried with them not just goods, but also ideas, beliefs, and stories that would forever alter the course of history. The Silk Road was more than a route of commerce. It was a vibrant tapestry interwoven with the threads of innumerable cultures, each contributing to and reshaping the worldviews of distant lands. Travelers returned with tales of mythical lands and fantastical creatures, which often captured the imaginations of those back home and fueled both awe and intrigue. These stories, while sometimes embellished, played a crucial role in shaping the perceptions and narratives of foreign peoples. However, these exchanges were not always harmonious. Misunderstandings and misconceptions frequently arose, sometimes leading to conflicts and mistrust. The diversity of languages, customs, and traditions meant that communication was often fraught with challenges. For instance, differing religious practices and societal norms could result in tensions, as those along the Silk Road struggled to reconcile their own identities with the influences of the other. Yet, amidst the misunderstandings, there were innumerable moments of genuine connection and learning. Scholars and thinkers exchanged philosophies, scientists shared technologies, and artists found inspiration in unfamiliar aesthetics. These interactions enriched the cultural landscapes of regions far removed from each other, leaving an enduring legacy that continues to echo through time. As we further trace the Silk Road's impact, we uncover not only the connections it fostered but also the conflicts, revealing how this ancient network of exchange shaped both the past and the present. Moving forward, let's delve into the spread of disease, a grim yet significant aspect of the Silk Road's history and its far-reaching consequences. As the next challenge unfolds, the Silk Road's role as a conduit for trade also made it a highway for diseases, with some of the most devastating impacts on societies and economies. The infamous bubonic plague, often referred to as the Black Death, is perhaps the most notorious of these diseases to traverse the Silk Road's length. This disease, caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, traveled from Asia to Europe, leaving a harrowing trail of devastation in its wake. The movement of traders, caravans, and armies across vast distances facilitated the spread of pathogens, turning bustling trade hubs into epicenters of outbreaks. Ships laden with goods carried infected rats and fleas, inadvertently transferring the disease from port to port. The consequences were catastrophic, with entire villages and towns succumbing to the illness. Social structures crumbled as populations were decimated, economies sank into turmoil, and fear gripped the hearts of millions. The social fabric was irreparably altered as the loss of life led to labor shortages and shifts in economic power. The pestilence also spurred profound changes in religious and cultural attitudes, with many questioning their faith and searching for explanations in the unknown. Yet, in the face of overwhelming despair, some societies cultivated resilience, adapting their practices and improving public health measures in response to the crisis. This dark chapter of the Silk Road highlights the interconnectedness of distant lands and the dire consequences of global interconnectedness in the absence of understanding and control. As we continue our journey along this historic path, we now uncover the darker aspects of trade, focusing on the opium trade and its lasting impact on societies along the Silk Road. As the sun rises on the next chapter, we delve into the opium trade, a sinister side of commerce that thrived along the Silk Road. Opium, a potent and addictive substance derived from the poppy plant, became a sought-after commodity, cultivated primarily in the fertile regions of modern-day Afghanistan and Iran. Traders transported this lucrative and alluring crop in caravans, carefully packed to safeguard its quality, through perilous terrains to reach distant markets. As it made its way to the bustling cities and ports along the Silk Road, opium left a trail of economic and social upheaval. In many Eastern societies, it was initially embraced for its medicinal properties, offering relief from pain and anxiety. Yet, its dark allure soon revealed itself as it led to widespread addiction, fracturing communities and straining families. In the West, opium became an integral part of trade policies, with empires leveraging its addictive qualities to establish control and negotiation with foreign lands. The opium trade thus intertwined with political maneuvers, often sparking conflicts like the Opium Wars, where entire nations clashed over the control and regulation of this powerful drug. The human cost was staggering as dependency eroded community structures and individual lives. Opium dens, teeming with despairing souls seeking solace, became a common sight in both the East and the West, starkly illustrating the substance's grip on society. This chapter of the Silk Road not only underscores the devastating impact of the opium trade on individual lives, but also highlights the broader socio-political ramifications. It serves as a stark reminder of how trade, driven by profit and power, can transcend borders and precipitate profound consequences across civilizations. As we move forward, we will shed light on another grim aspect of the Silk Road, focusing on forced labor and slavery that underpinned this extensive network. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we uncover the harrowing truth about forced labor and slavery, dark undercurrents that flowed beneath the grandeur of the Silk Road. This vast network, celebrated for its exchange of goods and cultures, was also built on the backs of countless individuals who toiled in unimaginable conditions. Enslaved people played a crucial role in the construction and maintenance of this trade route, often forced to endure brutal labor under harsh weather conditions. These individuals were not merely figures lost to history, they were human beings stripped of their freedom, compelled to build roads, construct caravanserais, and transport goods across hostile landscapes without the promise of sanctuary or rest. They endured grueling tasks, whether hauling heavy loads across deserts or working tirelessly to maintain the infrastructure on which traders depended. The Silk Road's demand for goods and wealth necessitated a constant supply of labor, leading to the capture and exploitation of people from various communities. This exploitation was not confined to a single region but spanned across empires and cultures, each contributing to this cycle of suffering. The human cost was profound, with families torn apart and lives forever altered by the relentless demands of trade. While the Silk Road is often romanticized as a pathway for cultural exchange and prosperity, acknowledging those who suffered under its shadow provides a more comprehensive understanding of its true history. As we delve deeper into the complexities of this network, it's essential to remember the individuals who, despite their contributions, remained voiceless and unseen. Now turning to the religious conflicts that arose along these routes, we will explore how faith both united and divided the diverse cultures that converged on the Silk Road. As the next chapter of our exploration unfolds, we delve into the intricate tapestry of religious conflicts that marked the Silk Road. This legendary route was not merely a highway of trade and cultural exchange. It was a melting pot of faiths where Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, and a myriad of other beliefs intertwined, often leading to profound tensions. As caravans traveled from east to west, they carried with them not only goods but also doctrines and philosophies that challenged existing spiritual paradigms. The interactions between these diverse faiths sometimes sparked discord, reflecting broader struggles for influence and territory among empires and regions. In some areas, these differences led to violent confrontations, with religious sites being targets of destruction or conversion as a means to assert dominance. Yet, while conflict was present, it is crucial to also recognize the moments of harmony and coexistence that arose. In bustling trade hubs, places of worship stood side by side, symbolizing a fragile peace negotiated by necessity and shared interests. The Silk Road was a conduit for the exchange of ideas as well as a battleground for ideological supremacy, shaping the spiritual landscape of the ancient world. These religious interactions not only impacted the immediate territories but also left enduring legacies, influencing philosophical and theological developments for centuries to come. As we journey further along this narrative, the environmental impact of the Silk Road takes center stage, offering a new perspective on this expansive route's ecological footprint. Moving forward, we uncover the ecological imprints left by the Silk Road, an ancient artery of commerce that carved its way through diverse landscapes. As merchants and travelers sought profitable ventures, they inadvertently set the stage for ecological upheaval. The demand for resources led to significant deforestation, as trees were cleared to make way for caravan routes or to meet the burgeoning need for construction materials and fuel. This relentless cycle of tree cutting contributed not only to habitat destruction, but also to soil erosion and changes in local climates. Regions once rich in biodiversity found themselves grappling with the loss of flora and fauna as ecosystems struggled to adapt to the new demands placed upon them. In certain areas, the quest for trade goods led to overgrazing by livestock, further accelerating the degradation of fertile lands and leaving behind arid and barren landscapes. The environmental impact wasn't confined to rural expanses. Trading cities along the Silk Road experienced their own challenges. The concentration of human activity in these burgeoning hubs often resulted in pollution and resource depletion, altering water sources and contributing to unsustainable urban growth. Yet, despite these environmental strains, the Silk Road also brought about early forms of environmental awareness among those who recognized the importance of preserving vital resources for future generations. While the scars of its environmental impact are undeniable, they serve as a historical lesson on the delicate balance between development and conservation. As we continue our exploration, the shifting tides of empires and their influence on the Silk Road emerge as the next chapter of this captivating tale. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we explore how the ever-shifting fortunes of empires shaped the fate of the Silk Road. For centuries, this trade route thrived under the aegis of powerful empires, each contributing to its expansive networks. However, as these empires waned, so too did the vigor of their trade arteries. The fall of the Byzantine Empire stands as a poignant example. Once a mighty force connecting Europe and Asia, its weakening grip in the face of rising powers like the Ottoman Empire drastically altered trade dynamics. This shift not only rerouted commerce but also changed the cultural exchanges that had flowed freely along these paths. Similarly, the Mongol Empire, which had once unified vast territories under a single administration, saw its disintegration lead to fragmented trade routes fraught with new challenges. These power vacuums were not just political, they created rifts in economic stability and security, making long journeys perilous once again. As protective forces dwindled and local authorities struggled to maintain control, traders found themselves vulnerable to increased threats from bandits and corrupt officials. The decline of these empires didn't merely signify the loss of political control, but heralded a transformation in trade practices and the ultimate descent of the Silk Road's prominence. This provided a fertile ground for the rise of new maritime routes as traders sought safer and more efficient alternatives. Through these historical shifts, the Silk Road's legacy was reshaped, illustrating the intricate ties between political power and the lifeblood of trade. As the sun rises on the next chapter, we turn our focus to the cultural erosion experienced by indigenous peoples, another poignant truth in the story of the Silk Road. As the next challenge unfolds, we spotlight the profound cultural erosion experienced by indigenous peoples due to the relentless march of the Silk Road. This trade route, while a conduit for economic and cultural exchanges, also became a vessel for the overwhelming influence of foreign traders and travelers, often at the expense of local customs and traditions. Communities that had thrived for generations along these routes found their cultural identities slowly eroding under the weight of foreign languages, beliefs, and practices. Take, for example, the Yuezhi people, who were nomadic pastoralists living in the regions of present-day Xinjiang. As the Silk Road flourished, their lands became crossroads for traders from diverse civilizations, each bringing their own cultural imprints. Over time, the Yuezhi, like many others, faced displacement or absorption into more dominant cultural milieus, losing significant aspects of their traditional ways of life. Similarly, the Sogdians, renowned for their skills as merchants and craftsmen, initially capitalized on the opportunities offered by the Silk Road, but as foreign influences permeated their society, traditional practices were gradually supplanted. The allure of exotic goods, foreign currencies, and new ideologies reshaped their social fabric in ways both subtle and profound. This cultural assimilation often came with a heavy cost, as indigenous languages faded and ancestral customs were sidelined, resulting in a loss of historical continuity and identity. The Silk Road, therefore, stands as a testament to the dual-edged nature of cultural exchange, enabling progress while simultaneously eroding the very roots of indigenous cultures. As the tapestry of this ancient trade route unfolded, it wove together a narrative of both enrichment and erosion, a legacy that continues to resonate in the regions it touched. Moving forward, we explore the shadowy realm of smuggling and illegal trade, another dark undertone of the Silk Road narrative. Now turning to the clandestine world of smuggling and illegal trade along the Silk Road, we uncover a web of secretive dealings that thrived beneath the surface of legitimate commerce. This route, renowned for its exchange of silk, spices, and precious stones, also facilitated the movement of contraband goods that were not sanctioned by authorities. Smugglers, driven by the lure of untold profits, employed ingenious methods to evade detection, making the Silk Road a thriving artery for illicit commerce. Among the most coveted contraband were luxury items like rare herbs and spices, whose transport was strictly regulated due to their high value and demand. These items were often concealed in false compartments of chests or mixed with legal cargo, effectively masking their true nature from customs officials. Additionally, the smuggling of religious artifacts and artworks was rampant as they held immense cultural and spiritual value, capable of fetching exorbitant prices in distant lands. Smugglers would disguise these treasures as ordinary objects or bribe local officials to turn a blind eye to their activities. Furthermore, opium trade flourished in shadow markets as traders capitalized on this addictive commodity's demand in various regions. The clandestine transactions were often conducted at night in remote caravanserais or secluded parts of bustling bazaars, away from prying eyes. Sophisticated networks of informants and collaborators ensured smugglers stayed one step ahead of the authorities, allowing these black market operations to prosper across vast distances. As a result, while the Silk Road was celebrated for connecting cultures through trade, it also became a haven for shadowy dealings that fueled corruption and bypassed legal restrictions. This dark undercurrent contributed to an underground economy that rivaled and sometimes even outmatched the official trade, underscoring the complexities and moral ambiguities of the Silk Road's rich history. As the sun rises on the next chapter, we delve into another layer of truth, focusing on the experiences of women along this historic corridor, often overlooked yet integral to its enduring legacy. As the sun rises on the next chapter, we explore the often overlooked role of women on the Silk Road, uncovering their significant yet complex contributions to this iconic trade route. Women played diverse roles, ranging from traders and artisans to laborers who powered the wheels of commerce behind the scenes. Some women managed trading posts or participated in the booming textile industry, contributing to the production of the very silk that the road is named after. Meanwhile, others acted as intermediaries in the bustling markets, negotiating deals and ensuring the smooth flow of goods. However, not all experiences were empowering. The Silk Road also had a darker side where women faced exploitation and discrimination. Trafficking was a harsh reality, with many women subjected to forced labor or coerced into servitude. Their stories are sobering reminders of the human cost that underscored the vibrant trade along these routes. Women from nomadic tribes often found themselves in unfamiliar territories, vulnerable to the whims of traders who saw them as commodities rather than individuals. Despite these challenges, their resilience and adaptability were remarkable as they navigated a world dominated by male traders and patriarchal societies. The complexities of their lives reflect the broader societal dynamics at play during this era. Their unfaltering spirit, despite adversity, contributed to the cultural tapestry that the Silk Road is so renowned for today. As we peel back these layers, the unsung stories of women on the Silk Road emerge, offering a richer, more nuanced understanding of this remarkable trade route's history. Moving forward, we delve into deceptive trade practices employed by merchants along the Silk Road, revealing a web of cunning strategies and survival instincts that defined commerce in ancient times. Now turning to deceptive trade practices, we find a world where the art of trade was often intertwined with cunning and deceit. Merchants on the Silk Road were not just skilled in the exchange of goods, but also in the subtleties of negotiation and subterfuge. Adulteration of products was a common tactic. Silk, the most coveted commodity, was sometimes mixed with other fibers to increase volume without customers noticing. Spices could be diluted and precious stones replaced with convincing imitations. This not only maximized profits for unscrupulous traders, but also sowed seeds of distrust among buyers and sellers. Fraudulent transactions were another strategy where traders might promise goods of a certain quality or origin, only for the buyer to discover a vastly inferior or falsified product. The exchange of counterfeit currencies was a risk, as different regions along the Silk Road used various forms of money. Merchants had to be vigilant to avoid ending up with worthless currency, which made trust an ever-elusive commodity. These deceptive practices necessitated a keen eye and quick wit to navigate successfully, and merchants often relied on reputations built over years of honest dealings to stand out in this murky world. Such practices did not just jeopardize individual transactions but also strained broader trade relations. Trust was the backbone of commerce, and when it was broken, it led to conflicts, loss of business, and even the downfall of entire trading hubs. Yet this dance of deception and trust defined the very essence of Silk Road commerce, a testament to the complexity and ingenuity of human trade. As we continue our journey, we now examine how powerful merchants wielded influence over the Silk Road, shaping policies and politics beyond their intended reach. As the next challenge unfolds, we delve into the realm of powerful merchants whose influence extended far beyond mere trade. These merchants were not only the lifeblood of commerce along the Silk Road, but also pivotal figures in shaping the political landscapes of the regions they traversed. Their wealth granted them a unique position, often allowing them to wield more power than local rulers and officials. With the ability to decide the fates of cities and communities, they strategically positioned themselves in key trading hubs, creating networks that spanned thousands of miles. These networks were not only critical for the exchange of goods, but also for the dissemination of ideas and cultural practices, making merchants vital connectors between distant lands. The clout they possessed meant they could negotiate favorable terms and even influence regional policies to suit their business interests. This often involved forming alliances with political leaders or funding military campaigns to ensure their trade routes remained safe and lucrative. In some instances, merchants stepped into the political arena more directly, becoming advisors or even rulers themselves. Their role was so significant that entire economies could hinge on their decisions, with communities thriving or collapsing based on their trade activities. However, this extraordinary power also came with its own set of challenges, as merchants had to navigate the delicate balance between cooperation and competition, not only with other traders but with political entities. Their ability to maneuver through these dynamics while maintaining their influence was a testament to their acumen and adaptability. As we continue our exploration, we now turn our attention to the use of silk as a diplomatic tool, unveiling how this treasured fabric played a crucial role beyond its commercial value. As the next challenge unfolds, we turn our focus to the fascinating role of silk as not just a commodity, but a powerful diplomatic tool. Silk's intrinsic value and allure made it an ideal offering in diplomatic exchanges, serving as a bridge between empires seeking peace or alliances. Throughout history, silk was bestowed as a royal gift to signify respect and establish or strengthen ties between nations. Emperors and kings often used silk to open doors to negotiations, with the fabric acting as a symbol of prosperity and goodwill. One notable example is how the Chinese Han Dynasty used silk to maintain favorable relations with neighboring tribes and nomadic groups, effectively keeping peace on their borders. The richness and rarity of silk imbued these exchanges with an aura of prestige, elevating diplomatic interactions to ceremonies of grand significance. Moreover, gifting silk allowed empires to subtly exert influence by fostering dependency on this luxury, ensuring continued political and economic leverage. This strategic dissemination of silk also facilitated cultural exchanges, introducing new customs and ideas across lands. As we weave the narrative of silk's diplomatic journey, our understanding deepens of how this exquisite material transcended its role as a trade good, becoming a vital instrument of international relations and influence. With this insight into the diplomatic fabric of history, we now unravel the complex dynamics stemming from the obsession with luxury goods and the societal impact of this relentless pursuit. As the sun rises on the next chapter, we delve into the dark side of luxury goods and the obsession that has gripped societies along the Silk Road for centuries. The allure of acquiring silk, spices, and precious stones drove many to extraordinary lengths, with individuals and entire civilizations vying for the prestige these items bestowed. This relentless pursuit of luxury created stark economic disparities, as only the wealthiest could afford these treasures, leaving the less fortunate in their shadow. As demand for these goods surged, so did the pressures on economies, burdening them with debts and fueling cycles of exploitation and trade imbalances. But beyond the economic turmoil, the moral implications were profound. The desire for luxury often eclipsed ethical considerations, with people prioritizing status over the means of acquiring it. The silk and spice trade, for example, sometimes involved harsh practices, including forced labor and exploitation, driven by an insatiable appetite for the finest things money could buy. In pursuing these objects of desire, societies often turned a blind eye to suffering, allowing moral lines to blur in the haze of extravagance. These goods, symbols of wealth and power, became markers of social division, creating tensions that rippled through the fabric of communities. As we unravel these complex threads, it becomes clear how the Silk Road, while a conduit of cultural exchange, also bore witness to human greed and the lengths taken to satisfy it. With this understanding, we now turn to how religion influenced trade along the Silk Road, shaping interactions and ethical standards in complex, fascinating ways. As the next chapter unfolds, religion emerges as a powerful force that shaped the dynamics of trade along the Silk Road. Religious beliefs, deeply woven into the fabric of societies, influenced not only what was traded but also how these exchanges were conducted. Many traders, guided by their faith, adhered to ethical standards that dictated fairness and honesty in their dealings. This adherence fostered a semblance of trust, a crucial element in the vast, interconnected trade networks of the Silk Road. In some cases, however, religious doctrines led to the refusal to trade certain goods. For instance, Islamic merchants often refrained from trading in alcohol, adhering to religious prohibitions. This selective trading wasn't just about compliance with religious laws. It also set social norms and established distinct community identities along the route. The Silk Road was more than just a physical passage for goods. It became a vibrant corridor where religions like Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, and others converged, interacted, and sometimes clashed. This interplay of faiths influenced diplomatic relations, as religious leaders often facilitated negotiations and alliances between different cultures. While some regions experienced harmonious coexistence and mutual respect fostered by shared beliefs, others encountered tensions and conflicts as divergent faiths collided. These religious influences on trade not only shaped economic landscapes, but also left a lasting imprint on the cultural tapestry of the Silk Road. As we continue our journey through these historical truths, we now examine the legacy of conflict zones along this ancient trade route and their enduring impact. As the next challenge unfolds, the legacy of conflict zones along the Silk Road reveals its enduring impact on contemporary political and social landscapes. The Silk Road was not only a route for commerce but also a battleground for clashing empires and cultures, where struggles for dominance and control frequently erupted into violent confrontations. These historical conflicts have left indelible marks on the regions they traversed, embedding deep-rooted tensions that persist to this day. Take, for instance, the region of Central Asia, where the passage of the Silk Road intersected the dominions of great powers such as the Persian Empire, the Han Dynasty, and later the Mongol Empire. Each of these forces sought to exert their influence, often resulting in prolonged military campaigns that disrupted trade and wrought havoc on local populations. The Mongol invasions, in particular, reshaped the political map, leaving a complex legacy of fragmented states and enduring rivalries. In the Caucasus, another pivotal area along the Silk Road, ethnic and religious conflicts flared as different groups vied for control over this strategic corridor. The echoes of these ancient conflicts resonate in today's geopolitical tensions, influencing modern borders and fueling ongoing unrest. The Silk Road, while a symbol of cultural exchange and economic prosperity, also served as a conduit for the spread of conflict, its routes deeply scarred by historical strife. These war-torn legacies continue to shape the identities and perceptions of the communities living along the Silk Road, reminding us of the intertwined fate of trade and turmoil. As we delve further into the complexities of the Silk Road, our journey will now illuminate the pervasive corruption and bribery that greased the wheels of this ancient trade network. Now turning to the more shadowy practices that underpin the operations of the Silk Road, we uncover the pervasive corruption and bribery that played a crucial role in maintaining this vast trade network. Alongside the traders and merchants who journeyed these routes lay a network of officials and intermediaries, many of whom sought personal gain over the lawful facilitation of trade. To navigate the intricate web of regulations and checkpoints that dotted the Silk Road, traders would often resort to bribery as a means to expedite their journeys. From the collection of tolls at city gates to the administration of customs duties at border crossings, these transactions were frequently marked by under-the-table dealings. Officials, too, were not mere passive recipients. Many actively exploited their positions of power, demanding exorbitant fees or favoring certain merchants in return for greater financial rewards. This environment of corruption was not limited to lower-ranking officials. It permeated the highest echelons of power, with rulers and governors sometimes turning a blind eye to illicit activities in exchange for a share of the profits. The prevalence of such practices significantly influenced trade dynamics, often determining which goods reached certain markets and at what cost. This corrupt ecosystem, while ultimately facilitating the flow of goods, also fostered an atmosphere of mistrust and rivalry. Traders would sometimes outbid each other to secure favorable treatment, leading to economic imbalances and fierce competition. As we examine these darker aspects of the Silk Road, we can see how corruption didn't merely sustain trade but also shaped it, leaving behind a legacy of inequality and discontent. With the understanding of these shadowy dealings deepening our perception of the Silk Road, we now move forward to explore the exploitation of natural resources driven by this ancient trade route. As the next phase of the journey unfolds, we delve into the exploitation of natural resources, a consequence of the Silk Road that is often overshadowed by its more immediate economic and cultural exchanges. This ancient trade route, while a marvel of human ingenuity and ambition, left a tangible scar on the environment that lingers to this day. The relentless demand for resources to fuel the Silk Road's extensive network accelerated the depletion of precious commodities like minerals, forests, and animal populations across vast regions. Traders and empires alike sought to extract maximum value from the lands they traversed, often without regard for ecological sustainability. This led to extensive deforestation as timber was harvested for building infrastructure and fueling industries. Similarly, mining activities for metals and stone escalated to meet the needs of growing markets in both the East and West. Over time, these practices resulted in significant habitat destruction, depleting biodiversity and disrupting ecosystems. Moreover, the overhunting of animals for goods like furs and ivory not only threatened species with extinction, but also disrupted local communities that relied on these animals for sustenance and cultural practices. The environmental cost of this resource extraction often outweighed the economic gains, leading to soil degradation and altering landscapes that once thrived with life. On a societal level, the exploitation of natural resources brought about profound changes in the livelihoods of indigenous peoples and local farmers. Traditional ways of living were often uprooted as lands were repurposed for trade-centric activities, creating social dislocation and economic dependency. As the Silk Road spurred the extraction of natural wealth, it set a precedent for resource exploitation that continues to echo through modern economic practices. This legacy serves as a stark reminder of the delicate balance between trade, development, and environmental stewardship. With this reflection on the exploitation of the environment along the Silk Road, we transition to exploring how advancements in technology played a role in shaping the trade dynamics of this historic route. Now turning to the role of technology in trade, we uncover a significant chapter in the history of the Silk Road. Technological advancements were pivotal in transforming the way trade was conducted, offering both new opportunities and formidable challenges. Innovations such as the development of durable caravan vehicles and the introduction of new forms of navigation and mapping allowed traders to traverse the vast and often perilous landscapes more efficiently. These advances not only increased the speed and volume of trade, but also expanded the reach of the Silk Road, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures across even greater distances. However, alongside these positive developments, technology also found darker applications. The same tools that enabled more efficient trade were often repurposed for military and strategic advantages. For instance, the construction of fortified outposts along trade routes not only provided safety for caravans, but also served as military strongholds that empires used to exert control over strategic regions. Weapons technology too evolved, driven by the need to protect valuable caravans from bandits and rival states, which in turn fueled an arms race along the route. As new methods of communication and signaling developed, they were equally employed for espionage, allowing states to gather intelligence and monitor rival movements. This dual nature of technology on the Silk Road underscores a recurring theme in human history. Where there is innovation for progress, there often lies the potential for exploitation and control. These technological shifts, while enhancing trade, also contributed to the intricate web of power dynamics that defined the Silk Road's history. As we ponder the profound impact of these advancements, both constructive and destructive, we prepare to explore the broad cultural impacts of trade and how they reshaped societies along the Silk Road. Moving forward, we delve into the profound cultural impacts that trade along the Silk Road brought to societies. The Silk Road was not just a highway for goods, but a vibrant conduit for culture, religion, and ideas. As traders journeyed across continents, they carried with them more than just silk and spices. They transported stories, beliefs, and traditions. This interchange led to the adoption of foreign customs, enriching local cultures with new artistic motifs, culinary techniques, and philosophical concepts. For example, Chinese silk influenced fashion in the Roman Empire, while the spread of Buddhist art from India to East Asia inspired a new wave of religious architecture and iconography. However, the embrace of these new elements was not without consequence. Traditions that had defined communities for centuries faced erosion as external influences began to overshadow indigenous practices. Languages evolved, religious practices adapted, and in some cases, entire belief systems transformed under the weight of new ideas. The introduction of different cultural and religious philosophies often sparked internal conflicts as societies grappled with maintaining their identities in the face of change. This dual effect of cultural exchange underscored a delicate balance between enrichment and loss. On one hand, cities along the Silk Road became cosmopolitan centers of learning and diversity, where cultures mingled and flourished. On the other, traditional ways of life that did not adapt quickly enough were sometimes left behind, leading to cultural displacement and the fading of ancient customs. As we reflect on this complex tapestry of cultural interactions, we recognize that the Silk Road was a catalyst for both the blossoming of global civilizations and the fading of isolated traditions. This intricate dance of cultural exchange set the stage for the rise and fall of civilizations, a theme we shall explore as we examine the fluctuating fortunes of key trading cities along the Silk Road. Now turning to the rise and fall of key trading cities along the Silk Road, we uncover a dynamic saga of prosperity and decline intricately woven into the fabric of history. These cities were once bustling hubs of commerce and culture, serving as vital junctions where caravans paused, exchanged goods, and replenished before continuing their perilous journeys. Among them, cities like Samarkand, Bukhara, and Kashgar flourished through their strategic positions and became symbols of wealth and diversity. Their markets buzzed with the sound of myriad languages as silk, spices, and precious stones changed hands, reflecting a blend of cultures and economies. However, this prosperity was often precarious. The very factors that spurred their growth were also potential harbingers of their downfall. The shifting tides of political power played a critical role as the rise and fall of empires determined the security and accessibility of these cities. For instance, when the Mongols took control, they rejuvenated trade, offering protection and stability, which bolstered the economic vitality of these urban centers. Conversely, as the Mongol Empire waned, protection dissipated, leaving cities vulnerable to raids and neglect. Additionally, natural disasters and changing trade patterns could swiftly alter a city's fate. A once thriving metropolis could find itself bypassed as new, more efficient routes emerged or as maritime trade grew in prominence, drawing commerce away from land-based paths. This transition from land to sea routes diminished the once central role of these trading cities, leading to economic stagnation and, in some cases, abandonment. The rise and fall of these cities illustrate the delicate interplay between geography, politics, and commerce, a balance that, when disrupted, could lead to swift and sometimes irreversible decline. As we delve further into the narrative of the Silk Road, we see that these cities serve as poignant reminders of the impermanent and often volatile nature of trade, demonstrating how the hand of fate could transform empires into echoes of the past. This historical cycle of prosperity and decline provides a lens through which we can appreciate the resilience and adaptability required by societies to thrive amidst changing circumstances. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we explore the pivotal transition from the land-bound Silk Road to maritime trade routes, a transformation that significantly altered the landscape of global commerce. This shift was driven by several compelling factors. Overland routes, while historically vital, posed immense challenges due to the treacherous terrain and constant threats from bandits and political instability. These obstacles, along with the sheer length of the journey, made sea travel increasingly attractive. The rise of powerful naval empires and advancements in shipbuilding technology further fueled this transition, as barges and later ships could carry larger quantities of goods more efficiently and securely. Maritime routes offered a newfound speed and reliability, connecting distant markets with unprecedented ease. Ports sprang to life as hubs of activity, providing traders with direct access to a variety of exotic goods, spices, textiles, and precious metals. The bustling harbors of cities like Venice, Alexandria, and Guangzhou became melting pots of cultures, echoing the vibrancy once found in land-based Silk Road cities. This transition had profound impacts on the historical Silk Road's legacy. Overland trade centers, which once thrived on the steady flow of caravans, experienced a gradual decline as their economic dominance waned. With fewer merchants traversing the land, some cities fell into obscurity, unable to compete with the booming maritime economies. Yet, this evolution also sparked opportunities for innovation and adaptation. Many regions along the former Silk Road found new ways to participate in the global economy, shifting their focus to local production and fostering trade networks that supported their unique offerings. This adaptability highlighted the resilience and ingenuity of societies impacted by the changing tides of commerce. As we continue to unravel the complexities of the Silk Road's history, the move towards sea routes serves as a testament to the dynamic nature of trade and its ability to reshape the world, creating new connections while transforming old pathways. This enduring shift from land to sea routes underscores the relentless drive for progress and the ever-evolving tapestry of human interaction and exchange. Now turning to the shadow markets, these illicit and informal trade networks operated parallel to the official Silk Road, weaving a complex web of underground commerce that thrived in the shadows of legality. These markets emerged as a response to the stringent controls and tariffs imposed by empires that sought to regulate the flow of goods across regions. Smugglers and merchants circumvented these controls, establishing a network that facilitated the trade of contraband goods, such as spices, silk, and even more dangerous commodities like opium and weapons. Operating in secrecy, these shadow markets became lifelines for goods that were either too expensive or prohibited by the authorities. Traders often relied on clandestine routes, hidden from the watchful eyes of officials, to transport their goods to eager buyers. The impact of these markets on the economy was profound. They created an alternative channel for commerce that bypassed traditional tax systems, resulting in significant revenue losses for governments. This, in turn, stoked corruption among officials who were often bribed to turn a blind eye to the activities of these shadow networks. Moreover, the presence of these illicit markets fueled competition with legitimate traders, driving prices down and affecting the quality and availability of goods. Despite their illegal nature, shadow markets played a pivotal role in sustaining the flow of commerce across regions, ensuring that even the most restricted goods found their way into the hands of those who desired them. As we unravel the tangled threads of the Silk Road's history, the emergence of these shadow markets highlights the resilience of commerce in the face of restriction and regulation. serving as a reminder of the ingenuity and adaptability that define human trade endeavors. As the sun rises on the next chapter, we delve into the myths and legends that have woven themselves into the rich tapestry of the Silk Road's history. These tales, passed down through generations, have blurred the lines between fact and fiction. Often embellished by storytellers, they painted the deserts with mirages of mythical cities overflowing with gold, valleys inhabited by dragons, and distant lands populated by enchanting creatures. Even Marco Polo's accounts, with all their adventurous allure, have been questioned for their veracity, as some scholars debate whether his journey reached as far as he claimed or was a clever amalgamation of traveler tales prevalent at the time. These stories, though fanciful, served a powerful purpose. They captivated the imaginations of those back home, igniting a fervor for exploration and the unknown. The allure of these fantastical narratives often led explorers to set out across treacherous landscapes, driven by the hope of discovering legendary treasures or wondrous civilizations. Tales of the Land of Serica, known for its silk production, or the fabled City of Stone, fueled not only the spirit of adventure but also the ambitions of traders and rulers eager to extend their reach. Yet, these myths also carried a darker side, often leading to misunderstandings and unrealistic expectations about the cultures and people along the Silk Road. Myths could warp perceptions, leading to the portrayal of foreign lands as either paradises or perilous territories inhabited by monstrous beings. Consequently, these narratives shaped diplomatic relations, trade negotiations, and even led to conflicts driven by misconceptions. By examining these tales with a discerning eye, we can better understand the dual nature of myths, not only as stories that entertain and inspire, but also as narratives that shape and sometimes distort our understanding of the world. Moving forward, we reflect on how these enduring legends continue to influence our perceptions of the Silk Road, a reminder of the power of storytelling in human history. As the next phase of the journey unfolds, we reflect on the Silk Road's enduring mystique, a path that, despite the passage of centuries, remains a symbol of adventure and intrigue. The Silk Road continues to captivate imaginations around the world, not just for its historical importance but for the mysteries and dark truths that linger in its legacy. It is more than a mere network of trade routes. It is a tapestry of cultural exchanges, epic journeys, and tales that transcend time. The allure of the Silk Road lies not only in the goods traded but in the stories and ideas that traveled along with them. This complex interchange of art, religion, and technology has left an indelible mark on societies thousands of miles apart. The romantic notion of travelers setting out on perilous journeys through forbidding landscapes, crossing boundaries not just physical but cultural, continues to inspire modern explorers and historians alike. Moreover, the Silk Road's shadowy aspects, tales of espionage, hidden agendas, and the dark underbelly of trade, add layers of depth and intrigue that resonate with our fascination for mystery and discovery. The legacy of these ancient passages invites us to ponder how interconnected our world was and continues to be, challenging us to consider the power and consequence of global exchanges throughout history. By understanding the Silk Road's past, we gain insight into the complexities of our present. This ongoing fascination reflects our innate desire to explore the unknown and unravel the intricate web of history where cultures collided, collaborated, and sometimes clashed. As we conclude this exploration of the Silk Road's dark truths, its enduring mystique remains a testament to the enduring power of human curiosity and the eternal quest for knowledge and adventure. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we draw our exploration of the Silk Road's shadowed corridors to a close, reflecting on the multifaceted truths unearthed about this ancient network. From its inception, driven by the allure of silk and exotic goods, to the dangers posed by treacherous terrain and bandits, the Silk Road was a complex tableau of human endeavor. It beckoned traders and travelers through political intrigues and cultural exchanges, where ideas mingled as freely as goods. The road was a conduit for power, an arena for espionage, and a channel for the spread of both disease and innovation, forever altering the course of civilizations. This multifarious route enabled the flow of opium, facilitated forced labor, and witnessed the rise of powerful merchants who shaped the fate of empires. Yet amidst its dark truths, the Silk Road was also a bridge for cultural dialogue, laying the groundwork for a globalized world long before our modern era. It serves as a reminder of the delicate interplay between progress and exploitation. These historical insights compel us to ponder, how do the echoes of the Silk Road's complex legacy resonate within our interconnected world today? As we consider these parallels, we invite you to engage with history, exploring how the lessons of the past might inform the challenges and opportunities of our future. If you found this journey through the Silk Road's shadows enlightening, we encourage you to subscribe, like, and share this video. Let us continue unraveling the tapestries of history, one story at a time.